super cold. I'm heading out on my first camping trip with the bike, and it's a short trip, about 35 miles. I'm going up to Mill Bluff State Park. It's bike trails most of the way, so it should be pretty level, except for my very first 2.5 miles out of from my house. I got to go up a giant hill. It says on Google Maps that it'll take about 3.25 hours to get there, but I'll have to stop and get a bike pass and various things along the way. It should be a good trip. As you can see right now, I am at 27.6 volts. I made it to the first big hill, hopefully the last big hill until I come back. It doesn't look real steep from here, but it's a beast. I made it over the hill, but now I get to go down. Steeper than the one I climbed, but it's shorter. Next stop, Hillsboro Quick Trip. Use the bathroom, get a trail pass. Hillsboro is the closest town to my house. Gas station and a grocery store or two, and a hospital. So here's the trailhead of the Hillsboro Northeastern Spur. See if I can get in holding the camera. Alright, I've traveled 8.84 miles. Average speed was 12.6. Top speed was 34 miles an hour going down that big hill after I climbed the other big hill. So all these power grips hold. Keep your feet from sliding off.
Continue on Hillsboro State Trail for 4 miles.
Maximum speed on bike trails with an e-bike in Wisconsin is 15 miles an hour. So this is my first bridge crossing on the trail. Nice heavy-duty bridge going over a little creek. if you can see it on that side. I can't. Just crossed from Vernon County into Juneau County. Just a little ways back, and next stop is Union Center, which isn't too far up here. 2.5 miles along the trail. You switch out the battery. Getting good sun on the solar panels. And I washed them off while I was at the gas station. Got the battery charging right down there. It's pretty awesome to have that ability. Okay, we are just finished the Hillsboro Spur bike trail, connecting with 400 trail, which goes from, I think it starts in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, and meets up with the Elroy Sparta Trail. Stopped here at the Union Center rest area along the bike trail. The restrooms are locked up for the season. I'll have to stop and find a bush out in the country somewhere here. Ready to hit the road again. So this is the Elroy trailhead area. They got a store. The big red building is the fire department. Just up here a little ways, the trail splits. The Elroy Sparta trail goes west, and the Omaha trail, which is the one I'm taking, goes north. And then the Elroy Sparta trail goes all the way to Sparta, and then there's another spur from there that goes all the way to La Crosse to the Mississippi River. This here is the beginning of the Omaha Trail. And I believe, according to Google Maps, I drive on the trail for 12 miles. Here we go, getting ready to go down another trail. Here we got some pretty cool rock formations. I'm sure this was cut out, but there's a lot of limestone bluffs in Wisconsin, this part at least. So we are at the tunnel on the Omaha Trail. You can see there now. cold. Traveled 24 miles so far. 2 hours and 13 minutes since I left. And Google says I have an hour and 3 minutes and 11 miles to go. Room to spare. 3-4 inches on each side. So there's my campsite for the night. And I got it hidden behind this tree here. I'm in stealth camping, so I kind of want it hid. But had myself some homemade pemmican I made in June and dried meat jerky I made not just this last month. And some organic butter, grass-fed, pasture-raised organic butter. And now I'm about ready to make myself a cup of tea. I brought along my alcohol stove, so that's what I'm going to be heating that up with. Ended up being 39 miles because I had to drive around a little bit. Yeah, 39 miles. And average speed was 9 miles an hour. And top speed was 34. On my last long stretch of about 13 miles on the Omaha Trail, was pretty much in a tunnel the whole time. I didn't get much sun, so my battery did go down. And I didn't get it back all the way. But I think right now it was 25.6 volts. But once the sun comes up in the morning, I'll move the bike out in the sun. And it'll charge up pretty quick. Just waiting for water to boil while watching the sunset. Pretty little meadow. Got woods behind me. Meadow here. Slowly waiting for my water to boil. Oh, the lid's getting hot, so I'm getting somewhere. So it was pretty much a good day. I had probably pushed that motor a little bit too hard, but hopefully it'll get me home. Gotta find the proper balance between motor and pedaling. Alright, tea kettle's starting to make noise. Alright, I'll make myself some tea and hit the hay early and just relax. I do have my laptop and hotspot along, so I might watch a little something on YouTube or something before I go to sleep. See you in the morning. Alright, I finished up packing up this morning. I did do a recording earlier, but it was so dark that you couldn't see anything. In the dark, I made myself a couple cups of coffee, and then as it's starting to lighten up, the sun still isn't up yet, but it's getting later. I've packed up my tent and everything. That flat spot there is where my tent was. And I am ready to get out of here. So, rolling away now. I had a good night's sleep, slept a good 9 hours or more, and all went well. Just had to put earplugs in to block out all the traffic noise. And there's a train that goes by just through the clearing over there. It didn't go through all night, but it did go through several times when I was first trying to fall asleep. Alright, time to hit the trail. I'm going totally by pedal power now until I can get to a place where the sun is shining, and wait to finish my coffee until the battery gets charged up. So I'm at the rest area at the trailhead of the Omaha Trail in Camp Douglas. Just park my vehicle in the sun here to get the batteries topped off. The Omaha Trail is pretty much a tunnel, so there's not a whole lot of power gained from that. And when I got here, they were just closing up the bathrooms for the season. Now the sign says closed for the season. So I'm almost full now. I think I'm at 26.5 volts, and I'd like to get to 27 before I hit the trail. Back on the trail again. Alright, I dispersed camped, or stealth camped right here. This is a little rest area along the Omaha Trail. I only made it, I think, 10 or 11 miles. It was uphill all the way, and my motor died. Killed it at the end of yesterday, and I could not get it going. I tried a bunch of different things and didn't have the right tools to swap the sprockets around. I did have a spare motor, but not the right tools. So I'm the other side. It was uphill all the way to here, but the other side of the tunnel it's downhill all the way to Elroy. So I can get there, and I'm hoping I can get the wrenches or tools I need at the auto parts store. But this was a much more peaceful place to sleep. Very quiet, no trains, very little car noise. Heard like 2 cars during the night. On the other side of this ridge here, there's a road. So I'm pretty sheltered. I slept over 12 hours. I was totally wiped by the time I got here, pedaling 440 pounds uphill all the way. It just about killed me. I'm not in shape because I have not been riding bike a lot lately, so it was rough. But today should be better. A tree fell in the trail. I went up over the hill here to the automotive store and bought a small ratchet set. So I was able to remove this sprocket here. And move that out of the way. This sprocket, I couldn't get that nut off without a ratchet set. And so I took it off the old motor, put this back on here, used the ratchet to put that back together too. So it's all together. Yesterday I spliced the plug end onto here. So now the new motor is ready to roll and I am happy camper. Ended up camping 2 nights instead of 1. Last night was great. And I was totally exhausted. Actually, I still am. After pedaling 6 miles to here, it's hard for me to walk. So, but if I did this every day, I'd be in great shape for it. Well, I can tell you that it is wonderful having the motor again. Go faster, relax more. Alright, I made it to the big hill. I gotta climb, and from once I get to the top of that, it's downhill all the way to my house. So, a few places where it levels and there's some little humps, but you just fly through everything. The main problem is the biggest hill has a 90-degree sharp turn at the bottom of the hill, so you gotta waste all that energy with your brakes to get around it without flipping. Away we go up the big hill. Not as steep. Alright, give you my assessment for the camping trip. It was 3 days, 2 nights, and first day was great. The only negative thing about the first day was the motor is definitely too loud. I had to wear earplugs to go that long of a trip with sitting in there. I knew this motor wasn't going to be great when I bought it. I couldn't get the one I wanted due to supply issues last year, which actually affected a lot of things and a lot of decisions. But I picked these up because they were pretty cheap, just a little over $100. I bought a second one as a backup, and it came in handy so I could get back home. The first thing was obviously the motor was the biggest problem. I've already sourced the one I want. I'm able to get the same motor I purchased back in 2011, and I'm happy about that. They're easy to hook up, and they work great with this bike frame and this kind of system. A lot quieter. They still have a whine because they're an e-bike motor, but I like it better than a hub motor. Hub motors, I would have to get a higher voltage, which would mean a different battery system. I had to get a much more expensive battery and a new charge controller and systems to run the lights separately and all of that. So And the same with like a Bufang mid-drive where the motor's by the pedals. Some of those 2 different models I looked at, they have heating issues too, and a lot of people have burned them out. And this being a lot of weight, it wouldn't work. The only one that would work would be the heavy-duty HD model of the Bufang, 1,000 watt. But then again, I'm looking at a minimum of $1,200, probably more like $1,500 to get that working with this system. And the next issue was the wheel well in the back, on the way back, was rubbing. I just had the bedding back by it, but it was enough offside where it pushed it so that it was rubbing on the wheel. And that's a pretty easy fix. I just got to make it a little bit wider. The other issue was when I went through the tunnel, this headlight wasn't enough at all. So I've gone ahead and ordered a different headlight. Should be a lot brighter than this one. And those simple fixes, again, that's a 15-minute job to replace that. The motor comes off the back here real easy when you got the right tools. Problem was on the road I didn't have a socket set with me, so I had to drive quite a ways, or pedal quite a ways before I could get that fixed. And again with the wheel well, that's probably a half-hour job, maybe a little longer. So all in all, it was a successful trip. I found out what works, what doesn't work, and I was very pleased. It was a fantastic camping experience and stealth camping experiences. I enjoyed it very much. And I hope you enjoyed watching my experience with it as well. Thank you for watching.